I am Curran Bhatia. I'm here with Teofimo Lopez, the man. You have a big fight coming up December 14th against Richard Commey. Now, you laced him up for the first time at 2 years old. Yeah. And now, 2 decades later, you're going for your first world championship opportunity. What does that mean for you?
It's a huge opportunity. I mean, it sounds like it's crazy. You know, like 20 years later, you put on for the first time a pair of gloves, and then this happens. You know, it's honestly it's a moment that you just gotta cherish right there. You gotta enjoy. You know, just the opportunity alone, and then set aside when you win it. That's just the whole icing on the cake. You know.
So you first put on the gloves at 2, then you started training more seriously at 6. That must have been a lot more serious. Mm-hmm. When did you first start thinking about world championships and you realized that this is something you could actually do for a living and actually be good at?
Once I hit my teens, once I started hitting my teens, I was like 13, 14, I started realizing I was like, I could really take this to another level, man. Sparring with professionals and everything at a young age, it was like you learn from them and they teach you certain things that you didn't know in the beginning, and then you take that with you, and then as you get older, you're still in your teens, and then it changed a lot, man. And honestly, I didn't believe I was gonna get to this point. You know, we have a thing, a lot of athletes, we dream big, but we're like, I'll get there one day, but you don't think that you're gonna get it right away. You know, you got to work hard, though. I mean, 17 years into this, 20 years just surrounded by boxing, but it paved the way, man. And I got to say, man, thanks to God for everything, because none of this would be possible without him.
You visualized it, you thought about it, and now it's finally happening.
Law of attraction.
Law of attraction. So you manifested this, right? You made this happen. So Richard Commey, your opponent, now he's 10 years older than you. He's 32 years old. Mm-hmm. Do you think he has that experience factor? Do you respect Richard Commey?
I respect the fact that he's a true champion. You know, he's a fighter that wants to make big fights happen. He's a fighter that wants the competition, the best competition out there, and I respect that about him. Now, other than that, no, I don't respect him. I respect him as he's a champion, 2-time world champion for a reason. All the things that his resume shows, you know, and everything, you know. But I don't respect him going in that ring or anything like that. And you got to keep that always, man. We know each other. You know, we fool around, whatever, but this is my bread and butter just as much as it is for him. You know, he's defending his title for the second time, and he's going to bring his A game. I know that for a fact.
And on December 14th, when you do take on Richard Commey, in terms of a technical fight, how do you think it's going to play out? Can you give us a little prediction of how it's going to play out?
People think that, you know, this fight might, you know, this is like the main fight, you know, and nothing to bash with Crawford. Crawford is a hell of a fighter. To me, I believe he's the pound-for-pound number 1 in the rankings right now. But, you know, a lot of people are really psyched about this fight, Richard Commey and Teofimo Lopez. And it's just because we bring excitement to the sport, man. And it's just going to be a turnaround, man. I don't see this fight going to 12 rounds. Somebody's going to get knocked out. And it's going to be good, man. It's definitely going to be a one to watch.
No, 100%. When this fight was announced on this card, I think a lot of people circled it and said, that's the fight I want to see. And you obviously have a good knockout record in New York. Now, your fight in the Garden in April, you knocked out your opponent with the body shot. Then you had your most recent fight against Nakatini in July, right? And that went the distance. Now, you won most of the rounds on every scorecard, but did you hear the fans kind of chirping, like saying, oh, Teofimo, okay, now, you know, he's been exposed a little bit. Did you hear a little bit of criticism and negativity, even though you won most of the rounds?
People gonna talk. Don't matter. They still watching. So, you know, you take the good and the bad, and you take the bad with the good, and you just move on from it. You learn from it, and that's the thing that I'm most happy about coming into this fight, is the fact that we make it look like a 50-50 fight. We make it look like we're the underdogs, if anything. Everything happens and it plays out the way it does, you know. And my thing is vengeance. I got this thing where it's like you talk this shit and people gonna say what they have to say. They always gonna talk, but this fight right here, why it means so much is not only I'm gonna make history and become the first Honduran to ever win a world title or world championship in any of the sports that they ever done, and bring back a belt back to Central America and all the Latinos. But it's big because my whole life changes from this point on, but you got to stay humble about things. You got to make sure that you don't forget the come up of how things were, and that's what I always bring to the table. That's what I always remind myself, and I'm truly blessed. I really am, and I'm excited about this, man. This definitely is gonna be an eye opener for everybody.
And obviously, Commey is a huge test. It's a world championship. Not to look ahead, but I'm sure you visualize things. You want to bring these things to reality. So looking ahead, is there any opponent in mind? Obviously, we've talked about Lomachenko a lot. You mentioned Crawford as your pound-for-pound one. A lot of people have Crawford or Lomachenko 1 and 1A. So do you respect Lomachenko? Do you think he's at the top of the sport, and would you like to get a crack at him?
Of course, a crack at him, yes. Like, obviously, I am. I've been asking for it for a while now. And it's not even about like asking to fight him for those reasons. It's just really I want to kick the guy's ass. And I think that's the thing that he doesn't like about it though, is the fact that I don't respect him. Everybody respects him. Everybody's like, oh hell, Lomachenko. But for me, I'm just like, nah, bro. I don't see it. I just feel like honestly, why I don't like the dude is just the way he is outside of things. I don't want to get into detail too much about it, but he's a champion. When the camera's on and everything, but I just feel like he ain't a true champion, a people's champion. And I hold that. I don't like people like that, man. It's just always been like that with me. I always have that thing with my father. My father always brought me up to that stuff, man. You should always treat people the way you want to be treated.
And do you think, in terms of the opportunities that he's gotten, do you think he's earned those, or do you think a few of them were kind of given to him in a way?
Nah, of course he earned them, man. I mean, he fought through all those fights, man. He earned all those. We can't take away from that. I ain't gonna bash him for all that. I mean, he's paved his way. But hey, in order to be the best, you gotta beat the best. But I'm the best, so in order for him to be the top dude, he gotta beat me. I always put that, man. I know I'm the best, and I think that I just want to make great fights happen for the fans, for the fight fans, because you guys deserve it. You guys come and you watch and you support us. Win, lose, or draw, you guys are there. So I'm just trying to make the best fights happen.
I'm sure everyone wants to see that fight for sure, you versus Lomachenko. So you're only 22 years old, and looking ahead, what are your goals in the sport? Do you want to unify the division? Do you want to eventually move up in weight? Just looking way ahead, what would you like to do in this sport?
This sport, man, I'm just trying to change it up, man. I'm just trying to switch things up. Now, as for glorifying everything, is just unifying, doing all the things that you can do possibly in the sport of boxing. But I want to make a difference in other things, man. God didn't just give me a gift just to use it on myself, and that's why I know, He gave me a gift so I could give a gift back to the community, to the people out there that have the same dream that I have, or the same goal, or a goal but in different things. That's just my way of thinking about things and doing things, man. It ain't about us. It's bigger than us. It's always gonna be bigger than us. I'm going to be forgotten, not now, but 20 years from now, whatever. When I hang up the gloves, we can't fight no more. But, you leave a legacy behind. That's what matters. And you got to make sure you got to remind yourself about it. You can't be narcissistic about it. So you just got to keep your head, keep your head screwed right, because you see all the money and everything, it could fool you.
And you started this at 2 years old, like we said. Are you a lifer in this game? Are you going to go for a long time? Or, fighter safety has obviously been in the news because we've had some recent tragedies. And there's been certain fighters, especially when they're young in their career, like you are 22, they say, hey, I want to hang it up by the time I'm 30. I'm not going to be a lifer in this. What's your mindset on that?
My mindset is whatever God gives me in the sport. I've been 17 years in, 20 years just surrounded by boxing. Whatever God decides and whatever, as much health He could give me doing this, that's how long I'm going to be out there. I don't know, I can't predict the future. I could say 10 years, 12 years, but God has His own plans for me. And, as we could see, it's already shifting in my favor. Commey, Lomachenko, and the list goes on and on afterwards. I go by God's time, and I go by His guidance, and that's really it. And I take it with that, man. Life is too short. You never know when you could go. Especially, 4 guys: Maximum Dadovic, Patrick Day. May they rest in peace, man. It sucks, man. It sucks to hear it. It sucks to see it. It sucks to be involved in it, not personally, but just to know them. It sucks. People don't understand, man. It's a tough sport, man. And it's the reason why it's the toughest sport in the world.
Does it make you question at all what you do for a living when you see what happens with Patrick Day and Dadashev and others?
We signed up knowing damn well what the pros and cons was into this. And that's for every athlete that does combat sport. You should know and I think that's the only thing I could respect Richard Commey for is, we're going to go in there and we're going to fight. We're going to dug it out. In every fight that goes in the ring, I respect you for facing me. I respect you for going in this ring because it takes a lot of balls. It takes a lot of cojones. But overall, man, it's tough, man, but we signed up for it. We know how this is, man. It's been about like 80-something deaths in sport of boxing. Probably more. I could be wrong. Boxing's been going on for a long time, for centuries. But you just try to make the best of it and just try to leave a mark in the sport of boxing, in the world too.
And your chance to leave a mark next is Richard Commey on December 14th. So, last question, just to wrap it up now. When you win, we see you do the flips, we see you do the Fortnite celebrations, right? So, can you give us a little preview of what's going to happen on December 14th when you win?
December 14th is Heisman Trophy night, so expect the Heisman pose, expect different celebrations, expect a dance. Just expect all of them, man. Backflip, always the backflip. Always, you gotta know that I'm always gonna bring my backflip. And I'm still in the works of making ideas and making some plans and figuring things out, but we'll get it all sorted out for fight night. December 14th on ESPN live after the Heisman Trophy ceremony and awards. And tune in, man. You guys definitely gonna have a good show, man.
December 14th, Teofimo Lopez versus Richard Commey. It's on ESPN. You don't want to miss this one.